Hello, welcome everyone to another edition of Kedro Coffee Chat. Today we've got an exciting session, a sneak peek into the future of building with Kedro. First of all, I would love to speak a little bit about the format, and then I'll explain what we're going to talk about. So for those who are new to our coffee chats, we have a format where we gather with our community to demo something new that we develop in Kedro, or just highlight some old features that might be interesting for you. And at the end of the session, we have some time for the questions. So feel free to drop the comment on YouTube or LinkedIn, so we could read them at the end and answer live. If you have any follow-up questions, please join our Slack community. We're happy to see everyone there, and except of Kedro team, you will find like a lot of people willing to help or share their ideas. And on this coffee chat Kedro page, which you can find here, you'll see all the previous streams that we had before, and the links to the LinkedIn and our Slack channel. So let me quickly introduce Rashida, one of our tech leads. She will be today we'll be exploring two upcoming experimental features. One of them, Kedro MCP, which helps you turn notebooks into production-ready Kedro project, and the Kedro Pipeline Builder. That's a new way to create projects and pipelines directly from an idea or a use case. And as I mentioned, today we have Rashida, and she'll walk us through all these capabilities and give us a sense of how you can build your pipelines in future. So the floor is yours. Yeah. Please.
Thanks, Elena. Hi, everyone. So as Elena said, we have been building on some really cool stuff, especially now that Kedro is at a stable 1.0. Our focus has been on making the learning curve smoother for our users, especially around the project creation part. So as Elena said, we want to help our users to go from ideas in their head or messy notebooks to a structured Kedro project more easily and faster. And the first demo that I'm going to show you is of this Kedro Builder, Kedro Pipeline Builder. And it's a new UI tool for helping users visually create and edit their pipelines. And this one's literally brand new. Like, we literally finished this earlier this week. It's our first MVP version, still in beta, so not publicly available yet. And we'll be opening it for early user testing soon. So this is a sneak peek to get early validation from you all. So anyways, like, users have always told us how much they love Kedro Viz. It helps them understand their pipeline. And often people have asked us, can we also create our Kedro pipelines this way? Or is there a way to edit our Kedro Viz pipelines? And this is what inspired this Kedro Pipeline Builder tool. So what you see on my screen is the what the tool looks like as soon as you enter. So at first you have this tutorial, which you can skip at any time. But if you are a new user to Kedro, it's a very short, quick guide that just explains you the core concepts of Kedro. And once you are done with that, we have a quick, the tutorial continues to just show you how you can use this Kedro Pipeline Builder. So what you can basically do is you can create a new project. And then once you create a new project, you can drag your data set or your function nodes into your blank canvas to create a pipeline. At any point of time, you can view what is happening in the background. So how Kedro is, how this app is reading what you're writing and converting it into a Kedro project. And after that, you can also get your pipeline validated and export it into a proper Kedro project. So everything that you design over here, you can end up exporting into a robust Kedro project. So I'm just going to start showing you with a demo. So I'm going to use this Uber data set that I found on Kaggle. And in this data set, you can basically find information about Uber car rides that were hailed across a period of time. So it gives information on date or time, what was the booking ID, what was the booking status, customer information, and such. So at this point, I haven't written any code, I'm just looking at this data set, and in my head I'm like envisioning some sort of analysis that will help me figure out what are the peak times of in a week where the Ubers are here the most. So just with this idea in my head and this raw data set, let me try and um, create a sort of a pipeline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on create new project, and let me call this Uber Analytics. And I'm going to drag my data set, which I know, which is this data set. So I'm just going to call it ride data. And at this point, I've not loaded the data set. So I'm just going to specify that this is ride data and add it over here. And I know now that this data set needs some processing before I start doing analysis with it. So I need to do some sort of cleanup. So I'm going to create this function node over here, and I'm going to call it process this raw data. And I can also write function code over here, but at this point I haven't written any code. I'm just looking at this Uber data and thinking about what I want to do. So some of you might have already a notebook ready, or have functions or data sets that you want ready, that you can always add it over here. In my case, I'm just going to leave it blank, and I'm going to do the addition of all the code once I have my Kedro project ready, because I prefer coding in the IDE. But with Kedro Builder, this is what works very nice. Whether you are just sketching an idea or already have a logic in mind or functions in mind, you can capture anything. Wherever you are at your starting point, Builder gives you a structure, a clean, ready to run Kedro project with minimal effort. So I've added my process raw data over here, and I'm going to connect this. Now I want to, like I said, I want to identify what are the peak times. So I'm just going to create this function. Again, just a stub, because I'm at this point I haven't figured things. Identify peak hours. And I'm just going to add it over here, and I'm going to connect it. And you can see that when I'm trying to connect, it's giving me this red line, because I'm trying to connect two nodes, which is not what you can do in Kedro. I need to have a data set, output data set, which then I can input in this in identify peak hours function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this data set, which basically is the cleaned, processed write data. This is my output data set, and then this output data set will input into the identify the peak hours, and that again will output to another data set, write data peak times or peak hours, just for consistency. And by the way, and one other thing I wanted to show is that I can also change the CSV type over here. So define whatever CSV I want. So in this case, I'm just going to keep it Excel. And now I'm just going to write one last function, which is plot peak hours. And this will give me a data set, which is peak hour plots. And now this data set, again, it's a plot, so I would rather it be a plotly JSON or a matplotlib data set. So I'm going to add it here. And now I'm going to connect it. So now I have this pipeline, just sketching out this pipeline from this idea in my head, not written any code yet, but I have this pipeline ready, and I can view what's happening in the background. So when I go on view code, you can see that this is a Kedro project directory, and it's like the whole Kedro project structure is here. In my catalog.yaml, I have my write data function, which was my raw data, and there are these intermediate data sets. So the process write data, the write data peak hours, which is an Excel data set, and finally the peak hour plots, which is a plotly.json data set. Now, if I go to my pipeline, you can see that the functions that I have, process raw data, identify peak hours, plot peak hours, all of them are there. And when I go to my nodes, you will see that I just have function stubs, because I haven't written any logic at the moment. but I have a very good Kedro structure. So now what I can do is I can export this project. And when I export this project, I get this warnings, and this warning basically says process raw data has no function code and some of them are missing file paths. Now these are just warnings, they're not any errors. So I can ignore them and I can click on continue. But again, if you have information and you want to put them, you can already put them and that will be get added to your Kedro code. So I'm just going to continue over here. And what it tells me is that I've created 4 data sets, 3 function nodes, and 1 pipeline. And I'm not going to add any description here. I'm just going to do download zip. I'm just going to save it in my folder. And now let me just extract the file and show it to you in my IDE. Let me open my VS Code, add folder to workspace, and I have my Kedro project. And you can see that the Kedro project is like a proper Kedro project that I exported. It has all my folders, it has my catalog, it has my source folder with my pipelines, and my pipelines, it has my nodes and the stubs, so I can fill these in. And basically, right from just having an idea in my head, uh, putting it on a canvas, drawing it out, I was easily able to export it into a Kedro project. And like this really helps me. Now I can like work off from a ready Kedro project and make it even better. So yeah, that was a sneak peek of the Kedro builder that we have built so far. It's still early, as I said, but we are really excited about what it unlocks, a more faster visual way to bring your ideas to life in Kedro. I hope you all are as excited to try it as I was showing it to you. And we'll be opening this soon for early user testing. So if you'd like to help shape this feature, please join our user research channel on Slack, and we'll share more information there. Now I think we can move on to the next demo, which is the Kedro MCP one. So now we look at another very common scenario. When you already have a notebook, what do you do? How do you convert it into a Kedro project? Now, notebooks are very good for experimentation, but as the project goes, they of course get very hard to maintain. And that's when people realize the importance of standardization in Kedro and they decide to switch to Kedro. And the switch from a notebook to Kedro can also be painful because it takes time and effort and also depends on how the big your notebook is. So we thought, why not make this transition easier for our users? Now, LLMs in general are expert at writing Kedro code. So even today, if you use an LLM like Claude or ChatGPT, give it your notebook and tell it to convert it into a Kedro project, 60 to 70% of it, the code that it will create is actually really good. With this Kedro MCP server, we have added some additional extra instructions to these LLMs, to give to these LLMs in areas where we see that they constantly are not good at. And this boosts the accuracy to, I would say, about 80 to 85%. So it's still not 100%, it's not perfect, but it gets to you to a good place really fast. And we are hoping that with more user testing and identifying more pain points, we can make our notebook converter on Kedro MCP even better. So let me show you how the Kedro MCP works. So if you go into our docs, and you'll have to go in the latest one because I told you it's still in beta. We'll be releasing it soon. You can see this vibe coding with Kedro MCP, and there's a whole doc that explains how you can do it. But you can do quick installation of the Kedro MCP on your VS Code or your cursor. In my case, I've already installed it on my VS Code. So I can show you the demo now. So for this Kedro MCP demo, I'm going to use the same Uber example that I showed you before. So this is a Kaggle notebook, Uber notebook, that connects to the same data set that I showed you earlier, the right data. And basically, this notebook is a very good example of a data science pipeline. It has uh, data ingestion, importing data. It has data processing, cleaning, and then it has some exploratory data analysis. So there are some data visualizations, line charts, bar charts, um, correlation heat maps, and so on. And then this notebook also contains some predictive modeling, which basically allows you to forecast trends. So it's a very good example notebook that we found on Kaggle. And what we are going to do is we're going to convert this notebook into a Kedro project with the help of Kedro MCP. So what I'm going to do now is in my agent mode, we're going to call Kedro MCP notebook convert, and we're going to give it this guidance. As soon as you load it, you get this guidance automatically. So I'm just going to clean it up a little and just add my guidance that, you know, take this notebook, use this tool, do the conversion, and please use Conda environment because I'm on Conda to do the conversion. And I'm going to use Claude Sonnet 4 because that's my favorite LLM. And yeah, so now it starts writing. So it says it'll help me convert this notebook into a Kedro project. And it starts analyzing the notebook. What it says next is I'll have the comprehensive guidance for converting notebook to Kedro, and I'll follow a 6-step statement of workflow to convert your Uber data analytics, and it starts creating this detailed conversion plan. So it says it's going to give me a statement of work, and what do I mean by this statement of work? So one thing about LLMs, working with LLMs to do creation, at least that's what I've realized, is like working with contractors who are like super talented, but they're like really bad contractors. So if you ask them to just build a house, they'll build something, but I'm not sure if you like what they build. So before we let the LLM start coding, we make them write a statement of work, which is like a clear plan of what are the pipelines you want to build, what are the data sets you want to build, what are the parameters and dependencies. And this statement of work is written by the LLM in the Kedro MCP. It's basically the contractor writing its own project plan, but we get to review this plan and we get to also edit this plan. So we agree upon this plan before they start writing the code. So I'll just show you what the plan looks like. One second. So it started creating this plan. So this is the example of what the plan looks like. So it has all these statement of work deliverables. So it tells me that these are the pipelines that I'm going to create. So it says I'm going to create 3 pipelines, which is the data processing pipelines, the visualization pipeline, and the model training pipeline. Now, in this statement of work, I already see one issue where in the first task, it says load raw data. And we don't really need a function to load raw data. That's handled by the data catalog itself. But besides that, if I look at my data catalog configurations, it tells me all the data sets it's going to have in my catalog. So I can clearly see like, and if I want to change any data set, I can do that. So all my plots are in matplotlib, which I'm fine with. It gives me information about what I'm going to be my parameter configurations. That also makes sense to me. What are going to be my visualization outputs, and finally what are going to be the dependencies that that it found in my notebook that it's going to install. So it says it's going to install Kedro datasets, Seaborn, scikit-learn. And finally it tells me the total deliverables that it's going to create and deliver. So it's going to create 3 pipelines, 15 tasks, 15 datasets, 4 parameter groups, 8 visualizations, and 3 dependencies. It asks me if I want to proceed with this plan or no. So at first I'm going to tell it no because I need to remove this task. We don't need this task. So I said it's not required since data catalog handles loading. And then it's like, yeah, I'm right. And it starts making that change. So now it gives me an updated plan where I don't have that load data node anymore. And it asks me if I'm happy with the plan. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm happy with the plan. Let's start building it. And now it starts building the plan. So it activates my Conda environment and it creates a new project. And you can see that after the Kedro new is done on my MCP demo folder, you can see this Uber Analytics notebook has been created. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run my Kedro Viz on auto reload side by side. So while my LLM is writing the code, I can see my Kedro Viz evolve and change. So I can get a better understanding is what my LLM is writing is actually what it should be writing. So I'm just going to run my Kedro Viz on the side. Yeah. And now you can see that my LLM started writing the plan, started executing the plan. So it started creating pipelines based on what it said. So it said it's going to create 3 pipelines. And you can see that in my Kedro Viz, I see 3 pipelines over here. And now it's still not started creating any nodes. That's why I see nothing over here. So it started creating my data catalog. I'm not looking at the code at the moment. I'm just looking at Kedro Viz and using that as a reference tool to understand what my LLM is doing. So it's created my great data catalog and parameter configuration. And now it's creating my data processing pipeline. So you can see it's reading nodes and pipelines and writing something to it. And you see that once it's done creating my data processing pipeline, my Kedro Viz now gets updated. And it has my data processing. So the raw Uber data, it gets cleaned to clean Uber data, and then it does some date time feature conversion, and it gives me processed Uber data. Now the LLM is writing my visualization pipeline, so let it do that. I've just expanded it so you can see properly what's happening. It's done, finished writing my visualization pipeline, and I can see in my Kedro Viz that all the plots that it had told me in the statement of work have been created. And now it's writing my model training pipeline. So let it finish writing that. And you can see now that my Viz got updated again. And now I have like my model training pipeline here written by my LLM. So all the 3 pipelines, visualization pipeline, data processing pipeline, model training pipeline are all done now. And over here on my left-hand side, you can see step 5, quality assurance review before testing. So now my LLM is doing like a full check. They are checking what we decided on the SOW. Everything has been done. And yeah, it gave a quality score of 20 out of 20, meaning everything that we had planned is done. And now it's going to do like a final delivery testing, which is Kedro run. And as soon as it does Kedro run, you can see that something failed. So there's some issue in my code. Now, this is also the time where you step in and you work with your LLM to fix the issue. In my case, I'm just letting the LLM fix it on its own, and that's what it's doing. So it starts fixing the issue on its own. And yeah, it does some fix and it does a Kedro run again. And you can see over here in my Kedro Viz workflow view, it's showing me the error. So yeah, it's running my pipeline again. And now it comes across another error. Let me just move this here. There's another error. It's spotted in my Kedro run. And now it'll work on fixing that error. It's done that. And now finally it's giving me a delivery acceptance test final result. It's telling me that all functions have been verified, all deliverables have been verified, the catalog is complete, the parameter configurations are complete, all visualization outputs are ready, dependencies are done, and everything works fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a Kedro run just to test if everything works fine. So I'm just going to do that now. Now I'm doing a Kedro run. And you can see that my Kedro run ran successfully. And like my when I refresh my workflow view, the red has gone, it's all green. And if I look at my Kedro Viz view and I look at the plots, you can see that all those plots that I showed you in my notebook are now output nodes, output data sets from my Kedro nodes. And yeah, how nicely using the MCP server, I was able to convert a notebook into a very good Kedro project, and how fast I was able to do that. So yeah, these were the 2 demos that we were really excited to share. We'd love for you to try them and share your feedback. So if you're interested in helping us out and refining these tools, please reach out to us on the user research channel on Slack. You can also comment on this video and let us know if you're interested, and we will reach out to you and share with you more information. But thank you so much for listening, and I'll hand it back to Elena.
Thank you very much, Rashida. That was such an exciting demo. It was my first time I saw it as well, and I'm really excited to see how Kedro MCP and the Pipeline Builder can shape the way we build the Kedro in future. That's really great. And just to let people some time to ask the questions, I'll be asking mine. How do you think Kedro MCP can help with some other features that we might develop in future? Where is the value?
Yes, so Kedro MCP right now we've tackled two use cases on Kedro MCP. The one I showed you was a notebook conversion one, and the second one is migration, which is another pain point that users face. Every time you have to migrate to Kedro, it's a lot of manual work. So we have also released that. We are also looking at adding more, refining these features better, and adding more MCP tools that can help users. So one of the other tools that we are planning to add was document generation. So based on your Kedro project, you can use an MCP tool to generate a nice document using Make Docs. But this is also something we want to hear from the users. So if as a user there is a pain point you think if Kedro using MCP server could solve for you, something that's very manual at the moment that we can automate using AI assistants, please let us know, and we would love to work on those.
Well, thank you very much. And we have one question from Ankita about when we are going to release these features.
Yes. So actually, the Kedro MCP is sort of released. Like it's available if you can download it already and use it. We are going to publish the docs for Kedro MCP next week. So hopefully by next week or next sprint, it will be fully officially available. But at this moment, like I said, you can go in our latest docs and still try access it and give us feedback. The pipeline builder, as I said, we just finished it recently. So we still need to do some early user testing. So around again next week or the week after, we'll be finding some early users to join our as a beta testers to test it out. It is limited functionality, and we aim to develop it further based on user pain points. So after our user testing, we will do a release of it. So I would say a month or so max.
Well, thank you very much for sharing the details. And like we have a few minutes, we can wait a little bit if some other questions pop up. And in the meanwhile, do you mind to kind of uncover some internal details, like what made you work on this feature with the Kedro MCP, and how did it improve the conversion quality
Sorry, the conversion quality
of the notebook?
of
Uh,
the notebook.
yes.
Yes. So I think it was quite interesting. So of course we tried to use the LLM and tried a lot to. So one of the things is we use Kaggle as our because Kaggle has many notebooks and very different notebooks, and people have different styles of writing notebooks. So it was a very good place to try as many notebooks as you can. And every time you try a different notebook, the LLM would it would highlight certain problems, like sometimes the LLM is using an old doc with where the data set has a capital S, and so on, which and these are like really small problems, and you just needed to give a good prompt or a good instruction set for LLMs to understand what to do next. So we tested it across various notebooks, multiple notebooks written by many users, and that gave us a good sense of how we can improve our LLM, what sort of instructions we give to our LLM to make it write good code. We also realize sometimes if the notebook is very large, LLM will only do half conversion, as in it will convert two pipelines and it will forget about converting two pipelines. So that's why we realize that having this statement of work where you have this agreed plan is very important. Because and this agreed plan is saved in your folder. So every time you can question the LLM, can you look at this plan and tell us if everything is if accurate, and then the LLM does it. again, this is not 100% perfect. We are looking into doing more stronger validation, pythonic validation, either via panda, pydantic, or some other tool to make our Kedro MCP even more stronger, but that's hopefully coming soon. But with this, the current way the Kedro MCP is, and again, would love for people to try it on real user problems. We have been just using Kaggle notebooks to give us more feedback, but it works very well.
Thank you very much, Rashida, again for sharing all this with us and showing how can this feature change the way you create the pipelines. And thank you very much for our users to join today. I can see there is another question from Ankita, by the way. We can cover it still. Can we do partial conversion with the MCP? For example, generate catalog but not pipelines.
That's a very good question. At this point, we don't have like our notebook converter does full conversion, but maybe we need to have more tools which just does catalog conversion. So we can build these tools. That would be easy to build. But at this point, yeah, if you're using the notebook converter, it does full conversion. But of course, you can tell the LLM that just do my catalog conversion, or maybe you can just update your statement of work to remove all the pipelines and just have the data catalog. I haven't tried it, but I think it's possible.
That sounds like a good idea. And yeah, if you have more questions or ideas, drop them in a chat or join our Kedro community to continue the conversation. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the future coffee chats. And yeah, it was really nice to have you all here, and have a good Friday. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.